Hey guys, what's up? It's Megadan29, and you're watching Captain Algebra. Mega Powers Unite! Hey guys.
Hey everybody, Captain Algebra here, and I'm here with my Genesis collection update from MoGameCon 2022. Yep, this is all the stuff I bought for the Sega Genesis when I was at MoGameCon this past weekend. Now, a lot of you know that Musha was my goal. Unfortunately, didn't see a copy of Musha other than a loose copy, and I wanted a complete in box. So I didn't get that, so I decided just to use all my money to mostly get Genesis stuff, and I still got some heavy hitters here and there. So let's go ahead and get through this real quick. We're going to start off with some stuff that was given to me or from gifts from friends or that I bought from my friends that were also at the con. So, or games that I already had loose that I had to complete or something like that. So first thing we're going to do is we've got Triple Play Gold Edition that is now complete in box. I also have Subterranea that is now complete in box. Now, the next few things are from Gaming Off the Grid. First, we've got a manual for Krusty's Super Fun House. I had the box and the game, and I just needed the manual. Then they were out garage sailing one weekend, and they texted me some Genesis games, and this is the only one that was complete that I needed, and that was Super Battleship. So I actually had the game, just had to get the box and manual. And then these are all brand new games. We've got Super Baseball 2020. Let me tell you what. 2020 baseball didn't look like this. So it's super futuristic and stuff. The stadiums are kind of weird. Like sometimes where it would normally be a foul ball, you can actually hit a ball there and it's in play. So that was kind of weird, but seems interesting. And then the one I was most excited for from Gaming Off the Grid is we've got Outrun. Yep, a classic Genesis racing game. I have Outrun 2019. Now I got this. This has, gotten pricey over the last couple of years. And I wanted to try it, and it's a solid game. If you played the other Outrun games, you played something like Rad Racer on the NES, you know about Outrun. It's pretty solid. And then the next two are from Chris, the old ass retro gamer. So a few months ago, he was at a game store, and every time he's there, he always sends me pictures of the Genesis stuff, see if I need any. And there was only a couple that were complete that I needed. So first we have La Russa Baseball 95, which is actually a pretty fun baseball game. I was surprised. And then we've got NHL PA Hockey 93. And then the last couple, first one is from my buddy TJ Kitsune. He also came to MoGameCon this year and he told me he had a game for me. So as usual, he gave me a fantastic price for this. So thank you again, TJ. And that is Dinosaurs for Hire. So this is the one I've been wanting for a very long time, but I never found a copy for a good price, or it was missing the manual. I could never find one complete. And so this is from his personal collection, and it's awesome. It's in great condition. And this game always seemed like something I would love. It's a run and gun shooting game with dinosaurs. What's not to love? Now, obviously, it's not as good as Contra, but so far from what I've played, it's pretty damn fun. And the last one is from John Riggs. So we actually talked about this before the Midwest Gaming Classic. Unfortunately, I forgot to remind him before it, and he didn't bring it with him. So we were trying to figure out another way to do it, but he went to Southeast Game Exchange earlier in July, and my buddy 8-Bit Glitch 79 was going as well, and he was coming to MoGameCon, so I'm like, oh, sweet, let's do that. So John gave me a fantastic deal. 8-Bit got it for me at Southeast Game Exchange, and then brought it to me at MoGameCon, and that is Beyond Oasis. This is a game I've been wanting ever since I played it on my uncle's Sega channel back in the day. It's an action RPG. It's very similar to something like Zelda. And I've just always loved how it looks and how it plays. And unfortunately, I couldn't find one at Midwest Gaming Classic. But fortunately, like I said, John Riggs was awesome. Offered it to me at a very, very good price. Plus, it's just cool to have a game in the collection from John Riggs. That's just really cool. So really excited to try that. All right, so everything else is just the stuff that I bought. And they're all games that I hadn't had before. And there's a lot here, so let's get to it. First stuff is all from Austin, who runs the Southeast Game Exchange. He used to have a YouTube channel called, I can't remember what the name of it was. I'll put it down in the description, and maybe I'll have something pop up right here. But he was coming to MoGameCon this year again. Last year he didn't bring any Genesis games. this year I got a hold of him ahead of time, like, hey, bring some Genesis stuff and I'll buy it. So I made sure that was actually the first stop I made after I looked for Musha. And because, you know, I wanted to support my buddy, as well as, hey, he brought these Genesis games, and knowing that I was looking for them, you know, I got to buy some. So basically, I looked at all of his stuff that was complete and pretty much grabbed everything that I needed except for one game, just because it wasn't in the best shape for the price, so I decided to hold off. But here we go. We've got Phantasy Star 2. So I bought Phantasy Star 3 a while back at a local store, but I still needed 2 and 4, so I grabbed that. The only problem with grabbing that one is a little bit later I was at another booth you'll see that I got stuff from, and they also had Phantasy Star 2 for a little bit cheaper, but it also had the map. Of course, I asked them if they'd sell the map just separate, and if, you know, they didn't, but it was worth asking. But it's still a big deal. Like you said, I could get that map later on, and I wanted to support Austin, and Austin gave me a great deal on these games, so it probably ended up being cheaper from Austin anyways. Then we've got a pretty cool shooter in Sector X. So I can't remember where I originally heard of this game, but it's basically a shooter with bugs, and it's pretty cool. I liked the little bit that I played of it. I got to clean up the case a little bit, just a little bit dirty, but otherwise it's in really good shape. But I'm really pumped to actually sit down and play that game more. And then we've got Spider-Man and Venom Maximum Carnage. So I've got this for Super Nintendo, want it for the Genesis too, and of course it's got the sweet red cart that is awesome. And I think I actually like the red cart on the Genesis version more than Super Nintendo, because this is the only red cart I've seen on the Sega Genesis, whereas the Super Nintendo, there are multiple colored carts there, so that was super cool. But it's a fun beat 'em up. I've actually never really sat down and played the Super Nintendo version, so it'll be fun to actually go through this game. So maybe we'll get to that soon. And then the next one is another game I've been wanting for a while, I've heard good things about, and that is Doom Troopers. So this is another kind of run and gun shooter, not quite as fast paced as something like Contra, but you have like 2 people you can choose from. You go through the levels, shooting people, but then you can also like finishing them off by attacking them close up. And what's really cool about this is it's got an awesome poster for Doom Troopers, but on the front it says a limited edition Doom Trooper Inquisition series game card inside, and it actually has the game card, which is super cool. You know, that's one of those things that is going to be easily lost from these games, so it was super cool that it had that. And then the last game that I picked up from Austin was Sunset Riders. Such a fun arcade shooter. I believe it was originally in the arcades. I could totally be wrong, so put me on blast if I am. But I've had the Super Nintendo game for a while, so I've always wanted the Genesis version. When I was testing it out last night and capturing game footage, like you might even see, I was playing terribly. I'm much better at the Super Nintendo version, but this is one of those games that I got to get back into. But I'd love to sit down and beat these games. Maybe that's one of those games that Megadan and I could run through together. That'd be pretty sweet for Mega Powers. All right, next up is the booth where I could have gotten Phantasy Star 2 with the map. So I grabbed a few things from them, and that is, first of all, we got Rings of Power. So this, I think it's an RPG. I didn't really know much about it, but the thing is, it came with a map with it, which is really the reason I grabbed it. Plus, most of the other stuff that they had there, I already had. So I figured we'd check it out. It's super cool that I had the map with it. And then I've got Gods, which is kind of like a puzzle platformer. I know I was talking to, I think it was Chris, the older ass retro gamer. He said he thought it was kind of like a Lemmings game. So far, it's not really like that. You know, you're not trying to get people out, but you're just solving puzzles to find clues and escape these rooms and stuff. So it seems pretty interesting so far. Again, it was nothing I had heard of before. And then finally from them, we've got Final Zone. So this is a game I've actually been looking at for a while, the last couple conventions. So this is basically you're in a mech and you're going through these levels and trying to defeat all the enemies. So it's pretty cool. It's kind of like an isometric view. Only played brief moment when I was capturing game footage, but I liked it so far. You can get health pickups, you can get other weapon pickups and stuff too. So really looking forward to trying this game out a little bit more. And then the last 2 things I got from that, I actually came back. I stopped at this place like 3 times, and it was hilarious because it was a husband and wife, and the wife was actually doing a really good job selling stuff. Like I stopped by when I was looking for Musha, and then I came by a second time. She's like, no, you have to buy. You know, if you come by a second time, you have to buy. And that's when I bought the games. And I was looking at these next few things. I didn't know if I want them. And later on, I was looking up the prices. Like, actually, those are pretty good deals. So might as well grab them. And so we got a couple hint books / strategy guides. First one is for Phantasy Star 3. I've heard that this game is very tough to figure out, so it's good to have the strategy guide. And then I also got the Phantasy Star 4 strategy guide. So I looked this one up. This one was going for like $150 online, and I got this for $100. Well, it was labeled as $100, but actually, because this was the third time I stopped there and I was spending a lot of money, they actually dropped the price even more. So it was super cool. I think label-wise, it was $160. I think I got it all for $140. So pretty cool there. But yeah, that was awesome. And I forgot to say, nothing I bought was for sticker price. What was nice is, because I had that money from that Zelda display tower, I was able to just I went to a booth and I was like, okay, picked out a bunch of games that I wanted, bundled up together. I'm like, hey, what's your best price? So definitely didn't pay sticker price on any of these, which is awesome. All right, next are just kind of a bunch of one-offs from a bunch of different booths. First one I got is Turrican. So I know like the Super Turrican games are fun and the Mega Turrican. So I figured, hey, the first Turrican game's got to be pretty cool, right? Unfortunately, this game so far doesn't seem that great, but it could be that I just don't know what the hell I'm doing. Because I kept forgetting that you have like this lightning bolt that can come out of your gun, and you can kind of like wiggle it around, kind of like Simon's Whip in Super Castlevania 4, but it's obviously not as limp and stuff. And I kept forgetting you can use that, so I'm thinking like that could kill things above me a lot better than just jumping, because you can't aim your gun up and stuff. So I'm sure it's just that I was sucking, but definitely excited to play that a little bit more. And then this game I got for a great price, and that's Pocahontas. So I first saw this at Retro Tony's booth, which had it for $70, and it was still well below, because the game, according to price charting, goes for $100. So I'm like, ooh, dude, $70, that's awesome. But it had no manual. I'm like, okay, no big deal. Then I found it at another booth for $50, complete in box. I'm like, why is this thing half off? Everything's in really good shape. Maybe the label on the game isn't that great, but definitely not $50 worth to bring it down in price. So this was probably from what I got it for versus what it's worth. This is probably the best deal I got. Now, obviously, Pocahontas, probably not going to be that great a game, especially I was playing it and it didn't seem as like smooth as the other Disney games that are on the Genesis, but who knows? It could end up being pretty cool. Next game I grabbed was Thunder Fox. So I grabbed this because I grabbed a Super Nintendo game, Super Adventure Island 2, and I wanted to bundle with it because it was a little pricier than I wanted to pay, but I didn't see it anywhere else in the convention. But this game it's a shooter, but it's not like fast-paced like Contra and stuff. Like, it's a little bit slower. But you've got a knife to attack enemies. You can get weapons to shoot at enemies, but they all have limited ammunition and stuff. So far it seems pretty cool. I think I was talking to 8-Bit Glitch after the convention. I was looking at everything, and I think it was him that said this was like one of the first games he ever had for the Genesis. So that's super cool. So definitely looking into playing that up some more. All right, so the next game that I grabbed, these two are both from Trading Games. That is a local place in Missouri. We got Gauntlet 4 on the Genesis. So I've always wanted this ever since I did the music collaboration for like the top 10 stage themes on Genesis games, and Chris, the old ass retro gamer, was part of it, and he talked about this and talked about how he was so surprised that the music in this was on the Genesis. And so I was like, okay, I gotta hear this. And sure enough, I was playing it. Now I played the arcade mode. I don't know if the other modes, the music is different and stuff, but when it started playing, I was like, how is this the Genesis? It didn't sound super tinny. It didn't sound like that mechanical noise you sometimes hear on the Genesis. It was fantastic. I was super impressed. So glad to add that to the collection. And then one I was really glad, even though I don't like this style of game, it completes a subset, and we've got Phantasy Star 4. So now I have all the Phantasy Star games on the Genesis, and you can see that's why I grabbed the Phantasy Star 4 strategy guide from that other place. So I've heard this is the best game in the series. I've heard it's really good. This game is in fantastic shape. The only bad thing is the one side of it is a little bit faded, but honestly, I don't care. I got a deal with these two. Again, that's why I kept buying. I tried to buy multiple things at places so I could bundle it and get the prices down. Because honestly, prices this year were pretty good. They were usually very close to price charting. I didn't see a ton of stuff way over. So it was nice, like, if you bundled, you got deals. You end up paying less than what these games are worth. So that was super cool to see. And then the last game that I got that was solo, this was from Retro Tony's booth, and we've got Battletoads. So, Battletoads is obviously everyone seems to talk about on the NES. No one really talks about the Genesis version, so I wanted to grab that. Now, I've not had a lot of experience with Battletoads on the NES, and so I don't know how much it differs and stuff, but maybe this will get me into actually trying out the game and stuff, because I've been wanting to play Battletoads the last couple of years. I just haven't found a chance to, so maybe this will kick it into gear, because I do like playing the Genesis more than the NES, so that was good. All right, the last stack of games all came from one vendor. I think I went back to his booth 3-4 times, I can't remember. So first time is I got some heavy hitters that I wanted, and then later on it's like he had the best stuff. His stuff was in immaculate condition. It was good priced. He was really wheeling dealing. I really appreciate it. Like, I would give out a number. He's like, yep, that works. So super cool to see him deal. I just wish he had Musha. All right, first game. Chris is not going to like this. Heavy Nova. So I got that game. I think Chris was there when I bought it. And he's talking to me out like, oh, this game is terrible and stuff. But, you know, I need all the games for the Genesis collection. I mean, it's a complete box for $25. So yeah, it's probably not great. But it's a fighting game with these, like, mechs. And yeah, it's bad. So, like, I put it into play last night. And the first section is like, okay, this isn't too bad. It's fine. And then you get to the boss fight. And at first I'm like, okay, it's okay. I'm doing okay. And all of a sudden I got knocked down. And the boss would stand over me, and as soon as I stood back up, I would try to like mash the attack button. It wouldn't matter. I got knocked down again. I was like, are you kidding me? So then he ended up killing me. I never got a chance, even though he was down to the last slither of health. So I was like, yeah, this game is not good. It's just kind of super choppy. Movements are slow. You press a button, it takes a while to actually do the move. Yeah, it's not good. But hey, we need it. Next up we got is Chester Cheetah Wild Wild Quest. So I have Chester Cheetah Too Cool to Fool. I've had that for years. And that game was decent. When I streamed it, I kind of liked it. So I figured, I should get the other Chester Cheetah games. And I believe this was the game that way back in the day, early on, Gaming Off the Grid actually did a playthrough of this on their channel. And I think they said it was a pretty decent game. So definitely look forward to playing through that some more. And then there's a game I've never heard of before, and that is Trampoline Terror. So this looked pretty cool. And then what it is about this game is you are going around these platforms with just regular platforms, but there are some trampolines you can jump while trying to hit all these switches to get them to blow up and avoid all the enemies. And sometimes you have to jump on the trampolines to avoid the enemies. Sometimes you have to jump over gaps. But the trampolines have lifespan. So basically it starts off, I believe, yellow or green, and then you can bounce on it 4 times before it gets a hole in it. You can't use it anymore. So yeah, it's a game I'd never seen before. It looks pretty cool. I'm excited to play that game a little bit more. Then we've got Pugy, which is a platform. I believe this is from Psygnosis. And I know that Chris the Older Arts Retro Gamer always talks about Psygnosis. So it seems pretty interesting so far. You kind of have to go through the levels and figure out what you need to grab and use to try to get through each of the levels. So it's kind of like a puzzle platformer. Seems pretty interesting so far. Next up, we've got Paperboy. Gotta love this classic. And so far, it does not play the greatest on the Genesis from the little bit I've played. But this one I've actually been wanting for a really long time because a couple years ago, I got sent a loose copy from VGM. It didn't work. They sent me a replacement game, of course, but they didn't have another copy. So I've been wanting Paperboy ever since then. So I was like, hey, complete box copy. Hell yeah. And because I grabbed Paperboy 1, well, I had to grab Paperboy 2, which honestly I didn't even know was on the Genesis. I knew it was on the NES and I knew it was on the Super Nintendo, but I didn't know it was on the Genesis. And honestly, this I thought played very well. I thought it controlled really well. I thought it was really easy to actually get the newspapers on the porch or in the mailbox. It wasn't super hard to avoid stuff. So yeah, this, I don't know. Obviously I got to play it a lot more. I've only played through like the first day on Easy Street. But so far, this might be the way to play this game. And we're down to the last 3 here. Some excellent games here. First off, we've got Landstalker. Another one I've been wanting since Chris, the old ass retro gamer, talked about it. I think we saw this at a store when I was game hunting with him a couple years ago. And he mentioned how it's by Treasure, and he likes Treasure. And this is basically an action RPG. Again, very similar to like a Zelda style game. But it is more of a isometric view versus like a top down or something. But it's got really good graphics. It seems really fun. Definitely one I am looking forward to trying. Again, it's an action RPG, so it's way more up my alley than turn-based. And then these next 2 were the first 2 that I bought from this guy. And the first one is Airbuster. So this is a shooter. Seems really fun. As usually, like most shooters, you know, you got to memorize the levels. There's different ways to power yourself up. with different types of weapons. You can power up those weapons. You can also charge your attack up and shoot it. But it seems pretty fun so far. Now, there is on the back of it, it says a free Kaneko video glove offer inside. So it's kind of giving the seller a hard time, like, where's the glove? This really isn't complete. It doesn't have the glove. But yeah, it's a super dumb little glove that you put on your hand that, like, your thumb is covered up, but all the other fingers have holes in them. So it's like, I don't know why you would need that, but, you know, it's just something dumb that they try to actually get more money from their customers. And here we go, the big hitter that I got. I'm super glad to finally add this to the collection. I've been wanting it, and I kept seeing it for games or for prices that were not good enough for me. And that is Splatterhouse 3. So finally got a Genesis Splatterhouse game. I really wanted 2 and 3. Unfortunately, Austin didn't have it complete. Otherwise, I would have grabbed it from him. And then there was another place that had it like $50 over what it goes for. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to do it. And they didn't really have anything. Everything else of theirs was pretty overpriced as well. It's like, even with bundling, I'm like, I really don't want to do it. So made it Midwest Gaming Classic next year. I'll get the Splatterhouse too, but I got to get that at some point. But this, I love Splatterhouse. I played through the TurboGrafx game. Was it this year, I think? Or this past year, 2021, in October. And loved it. Now, I know this is a little bit different. This is the one that, it's kind of like the mansion. You can choose your own path, right? There's the map, and you can look for which way you want to go. You just got to get to the end part where you got to fight the boss. And I think you have to beat the game in a certain amount of time to actually get the best ending. So it's super cool, looks great, it's brutal. It does have these power orbs you can pick up to fill up your power, and then you can change into the terror mask and obviously be more powerful and stuff. But yeah, this game is so much fun. I'm super excited to play it. And yeah. Best game I think that I got at MoGameCon. So there you go. That is everything I picked up at MoGameCon this year. So I believe there's 32 games there that I picked up. Again, a few of them were games I already had that I just needed to complete. So I believe brand new games to the collection were 28. And I believe that puts me at 378 Genesis games. So we are well over halfway. Or not well over, but we are over halfway to the total Genesis collection. My goal is to get to 400 by the end of the year, which shouldn't be a problem. If I keep getting boxes from VGM where it's all Genesis stuff, you know, I might be able to get it there just in the 4 months that I have left. So I already know that this month coming up, it's not going to be Genesis games because I forgot to talk to Joe about it. So I will at least get one there, probably for sure. So yeah, 22 more to go and we'll get to 400, so I definitely can do that in the next few months for the end of the year. But yeah, let me know what you thought. MoGameCon was awesome, so cool seeing all the people that I saw and hanging out, and just adding a bunch of Genesis games to the collection. So super excited. Now the hard part is adding to the collection behind me and keeping them in alphabetical order. So let me know what your favorite is, and thanks so much for watching. Till next time, this is Captain Algebra, signing off.